Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are talking about Enlisted because there's some interesting news when it comes to Enlisted, and it seems like it's going to be coming out when the Xbox Series X is launched, which is pretty cool. Now obviously this only talks about the Xbox release. That doesn't mean that there will be a PC release on the same day, but hopefully being a cross-platform game just like War Thunder is, just like Cuisine Royale is, and just like stuff like Crossout is, which are all Gaijin properties, hopefully Enlisted will also have a day where everything is released at once. If this is an Xbox exclusive at the start, it will be kind of annoying, but at the same time, at least it means that there will be a testing period on Xbox where they can test stuff for us on PC. So the way it's going to work is Enlisted will be part of the Xbox Series XS launch lineup as a game preview title and a timed console exclusive. So that normally means to me that it will come out on Xbox first instead of on other platforms. So whether, Xbox have paid for this, whether Gaijin have decided this is the best way to, enter Enlisted as a game series, it is how it is. And the way that you're going to be able to access it is just similar to the other ways that Gaijin have done these titles in the past. So when it comes to War Thunder, whenever a new tech tree is added to it, there is a CBT for that tech tree. This means that you have a time period where you can buy what is a pack for that tree, normally a lower tier vehicle or a higher tier vehicle, and that gives you access to that tree before anybody else. So as you can see, a founder's pack purchase will be required to get access to the game. So they're pretty much doing a paid access beta is basically the way that I see this, and it is how it is. It's the part of the business model that Gaijin has done in the past. Not a surprise that they are pushing it in Enlisted too. So the other stuff is just talking about what Enlisted is when it comes to the general title of it, and Xbox Series XS game preview players will be the first to try Enlisted beta version that follows a couple of time-limited playtests and closed alpha testing. Player feedback in this game that is still in development will be used to improve the quality even further during the development of the new campaigns and other content. There is obviously already at least 3 campaigns being worked on that we've seen. The Normandy campaign. We've also seen Battle of Berlin as well. That was a kind of interesting open alpha test that they did, and also another one which involved the USSR and Germany. So that is a little bit of news when it comes to Enlisted itself. Looks like it is probably going to be an exclusive just for a time period. I know that they want to release the game at least by the end of the year, so they're kind of running out of time to do that, and hopefully that means that it will be on PC soon. The other thing as well is, if you want to know some other titles which are going to be out on launch day for Xbox Series X and Series S, what we're looking at is some other games which you might, be familiar with. So stuff such as War Thunder will be on Smart Delivery. Now what Smart Delivery means is that it will be compatible with all of the old versions of the game. So the Xbox Series X players will be able to play War Thunder on launch day and be able to play with all of the other players who are playing other platforms. At the same time as well, it does mean that if your account is linked to War Thunder on Xbox, you will be able to carry it forward. Cuisine Royale is also there, so as you can see, Gaijin is very much well represented in these 30 first games that are going to be available on Xbox, which is nice to see. Gaijin as a publisher is one of the largest in their area of the world, so yeah, they should be heavily shown in areas like this. So there's also some other stuff such as Sea of Thieves, Gears 5 is kind of interesting to see, and then also stuff such as Dirt 5, which at least for me is really cool. I really like the Dirt series of games, so that's nice to see. If you want an actual release date for the console itself, the release date seems to be the 10th of November 2020, so if you want access to Enlisted as early as possible, and you're not part of the closed alpha test, which is under NDA right now, this is probably your best chance to be able to give it a go. Now, obviously, as I said, if you want to wait for the PC stuff, you can. I'm going to be doing that. I'm not going to buy a whole console just for one game. So, yeah, that's something to look at. It also means that, as I said, there should be cross-platform play for this game, so a larger player base, very similar to how other games have done it. Another thing to also mention is there are some other articles when it comes to Enlisted. The first one is observation devices for ground vehicles. So what they've done here is they're actually making realistic looks for stuff like tank optics for stuff such as the commander, the gunner, and probably the driver. The gunner in the closed, or the open alpha test, I should say, basically just looked down the gunner's optics. The commander just popped out of the roof of the tank, or the cupola of the tank, and he could get shot. It was kind of an interesting mechanic. So you could increase your view, but at the same time, you could get shot. So that was kind of interesting. And then the driver would just have a driver's port. So to see this happening is pretty cool. It also may link to something that BVVD said, or Vyacheslav Bulanikov, who is kind of like one of the head developers at Gaijin when it comes to War Thunder. He said in the update 1.103 stream, or 101 stream, whatever update Raining Fire is, he said in that stream where they looked at some of the new additions which are coming to the game, that they were working on stuff such as better binocular views and probably more realistic binocular views at the same time when it comes to War Thunder. If they're talking about stuff like this, it will obviously heavily decrease the amount of visibility that the commander gets, therefore it will be very much rough for scouting, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe it's just for simulator, who knows. Anything is possible at this point. Another mechanic that they've also added in, which I see as quite controversial, is flamethrowers. And the reason why I find flamethrowers controversial is during the two open alpha tests which we played on stream, one of the things that was very apparent when it came to Enlisted is that there are quite a lot of closed spaces. There are a lot of places where you have to capture zones in the center of buildings, and let's just say some of those maps were really badly optimized. They were really bad when it came to the actual balance of them. Some of them were incredibly offensive-sided, some of them were incredibly defensive-sided, especially when you had certain capture zones where you had to actually capture them in the middle of a field. And that field itself was just one of those things where they could just sit all around it, and you just basically had to go prone and hope to hell that mortars don't hit you, hope to hell that nothing else hits you. Well, now it's going to be even harder to be able to clear out buildings if there's just a guy sat in it with a flamethrower. And if you want to see what flamethrowers look like when it comes to the game, it's pretty simple. You know, it's a flame and it fires out some extra flames. So, you know, nothing too special, but it does look quite nice. It does look very interesting, and you can see the mechanics there of the fire going. This is on one of the Berlin maps, which was tested in the open alpha test, and yeah, it just shows to me that it's very easy just to be able to burn through a whole room. And as we've talked about before, the capture points being a room means that somebody could just run in with a flamethrower and just torch everything. Seems like a bit of a worry, in my opinion, but they are doing 3 separate flamethrowers. So the M2 for the USA, 15 liter, the ROKS 3 for the USSR with 9 liters, and then the Flammenwerfer 35 for the Germans at 12 liters. So yeah, this is probably going to be a new squad, which will have access to it, so it won't be too crazy, meaning you'll only have access to 1, maybe out of 5. So yeah, you're going to have to time it correctly when you bring it in, but it does seem very, very insane in closed spaces. So yeah, it's nice to see some more news about Enlisted. Hopefully soon we we will see an official release date for Enlisted, for PC, and also other platforms, but at least for Xbox, it is now going to be available when, of course, the Xbox X looks at. Hopefully that Founders Pack is nice. Hopefully it also gives us a key into the monetization of Enlisted, because that is still something that is not a full mystery to me, but it's definitely something I would like clarified. As always, oh, by the way, before I end, I'm going to be streaming Space Crew today. So Space Crew is the sequel to Bomber Crew, and I had a great time in Bomber Crew, so Space Crew should be fun. And if you want to see your name on the ship, and you want to see your character on the ship, this will be time to get involved. So come along to the stream today, twitch.tv European Canadian. I'll see you there. Have a nice day. I'd just like to thank Trigger Hippie, Universe, Conte Baraka, Elove Goat, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Hans, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.